to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
Welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. This is episode number 92. Fresh into a brand new season, the final season of Vanguard Warzone integration, likely, as it were, our final season on Warzone 1, because you know we're not fucking sticking around as soon as Warzone 2 is out. That said, jam-packed episode for you. You know, things were they were fizzling, they were cooling down, but I gotta say, I'm kind of boiling hot coming into this one, hot off the heels of a personal record game for the Tronster. 16 kills on Fortune's Keep, but enough about me. I need to turn to the 10-inch Cowboy and ask you, Cowboy, how was your week this week in the Warzone?
Yes, thank you for that. I didn't do as well as you. I think that we just had one of the longer sessions we've had in a while, and I think you did. You had 16 kills, and I think I have like, what was it, 15 or 14 or was it 0? Yeah, no, it was 0. I had 0 kills. You had 16, but I was really providing the support for you to do what you needed to do. As I like to say a lot of the time, you seem to poach all my kills. That was obviously happening. You had 16 more kills than me, but I think you only had a couple thousand more damage. So, yeah, there's that. But regardless of that, the week was pretty good. I've been tinkering with my loadout a little bit. Obviously, with the Season 5 update, they've made modifications to the Armaguerra and the KGM40. Armaguerra apparently still a top weapon, but not for me. And I'm doing some soul searching on the SMG front to see what is next, because I just don't think the Armaguerra is it for me. I'm also just playing horribly. Yeah, I just am not in the zone. You know, ever since I moved to locations and in my new place of residence, something about it is different. Like, I don't know if it's like the internet quality or like the way that the television is where I sit and play is a little different. And I just haven't dialed it in yet. So frustrating week. But we got a lot of shit to talk about this week. It seems like a lot changed all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to unpack there. For one, I'm stunned to hear you actually admit this time that you had the 0 kill round. But we'll be posting the full gameplay on our YouTube. I posted a screenshot, you know, proudly displaying my new PR on our Twitter, on our Discord. Got some awesome comments, really roasting the Cowboy by our community. So you know I love that.
What?
You'll have to check it out there, Cowboy. But some choice burns, shall I say, there. But that said, yeah, I really, you know, when things are going well, it's a lot easier to enjoy the game than when you're getting your fucking ass kicked. And part of it is this meta shift, which I didn't expect. You know, new meta, I'm thinking, I got to find the new guns, but we'll talk about kind of where we're at with that a little later on. But I was able to kind of revisit some old favorites, finding their way back into the zone. And I'm not talking about the M13 for once, but like you said, a ton of new shit. Like, the patch notes and the previews will touch on stuff, but you really don't figure out what's in the meatballs and what's in the sauce till you take a bite. And we got some bites this week. So we're just going to dive into these patch notes, the high level and the low level notes. The not big things, but off the top, Fortune's Keep, they made some adjustments to team sizes and player counts. And so solos, they increased it by 5 teams. It's now 50 players on Fortune's Keep solos, up from 45. Duos, only up by 2 teams, but again, up to 50, up from 46. Trios increased by 2 teams. It's now 51 players, up from 45. And then quads, they added 3 teams, so 52 players now on quads Fortune's Keep, up from 40. That's kind of a significant jump. Wasn't aware of that while we were playing, but curious what your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I don't know if I noticed it either. And honestly, I feel like our lobbies were going by pretty quick. I remember at one point we were like, oh, there's only 10 people left. Or, you know, it seemed to be. So I would not have noticed this. We were playing duos, though we haven't gotten in on a quad on this, which is probably the biggest change. But Yeah, strange. I didn't notice it, but I guess that's a good thing. You don't want it to be like a violent change.
Yeah, and other than that, no real changes to Fortune's Keep of, notability, I guess. But that said, the big change that we touched on were on Caldera, on the island, not Rebirth, and that was the volcanic activity. I don't know if did you have a chance to check out Caldera so far with these new updates there, Cowboy?
Is this just specific to season 5? So this is,
Yeah.
no, I don't think I've been on Caldera in the last 2 or 3 days, right? It would have been in that time frame, right? Yeah, no, I have not seen these.
Well, I dropped in one or two, as a masochist, tried some solos. I checked out the new peak, kind of just flew over it. Wasn't as dramatic of a change as I was thinking. Like, I thought the lava was really going to be huge and a big thing, but it's really just kind of like these little rivers going down, careening down slowly the side. I didn't check out some of these other new areas. Like there's a whole new task force. They call it Tyrants HQ. The boiler room. I did check out, of course, the new gulag, which is, it's essentially like a underground furnace, like volcanic area, but it's modeled after the original Showers gulag. So one person on one side, one person on the other, kind of some hallways. But it's a really good gulag, and people are really digging it in the community.
Good. So it seems like there's a positive response. People are into this.
They're into the new gulag, and I feel like overall they like the changes, because namely the big changes we're going to get into is some of these improvements, but really the weapons tuning, I think, is where they did a lot of kind of sculpting here on the gameplay experience. Wasn't able to drop into Rebirth, but I did see some clips of the new lighting. It is very like, it's a sunset theme now, so it's very
Whoa! I didn't even see Rebirth on the playlist when we played earlier today. Is Rebirth even there?
They added it today, so we're recording this on a Friday. It was not live until I believe this morning. They added it for the weekend, quads only on Rebirth with the new lighting.
Oh, I swear I didn't see it today either. Maybe there was a playlist update I missed, but all right, that makes sense, because I was wondering what the hell happened with Rebirth, but this is going to be Rebirth After Dark.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, Rebirth, that sunset, it's very romantic. You can gaze out onto the horizon. It's got like a really low-key, interesting feel, but there will be Rebirth After Dark, actually, specifically here, starting on September 2nd, which is a Friday, through Sunday the 4th. So just for that weekend, they're going to be giving you Rebirth After Dark. They want to allow players to experience this fan-favorite experience after the sun has set.
Okay. And there's no zombies here. It's just a dark mode.
No, but I'm getting the sense here, this is our final season. It's like our send-off. I feel like they're kind of trying to throw some fan favorites or things people have been calling out for. Like, people really, I guess, liked the Night Rebirth. I remember I was at the end of one of the seasons. I think it was the last season of Black Ops before we went into Vanguard or something like that. And I remember it being fun, but nothing like remarkable. So I'll check it out though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we love Rebirth. We'll try any game mode in Rebirth, really. But I mean, it just seems kind of the dark mode, I guess. Weird, I guess.
And we will fucking play it. We will fucking win it, and we will dominate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mr. 16 kill.
Yeah. Far cry from where we were weeks ago. That's what it'll do to you when you get some kills under your belt. That said, though, the new gameplay editions went live. We talked about the new Doomsday Station. I did not have a chance to experience that on Caldera. As it says, there's only one on the map, and I'm a timid little bitch, so didn't go hunting for that. But we did get our hands on quite a bit on Fortune's Keep, this new supply box UAV. What are your thoughts, or do you want to kind of describe this and talk about it for our audience?
Yeah, so as I predicted when we previewed this new kill streak, when you deploy it, it shows on the map a bunch of crates around you, and it pings like a UAV would. It shows you the color of the crate. It shows you like, the status of the crate and all that stuff. So I guess the thing is it is cool, but maybe it would be better on Caldera, because on Fortune's Keep, there were so many crates everywhere. It was never an issue. We were never like, oh, we need to find a crate. I guess on Caldera, if you're like, scrounging to get one of your teammates back because they're dead and you got to buy them back, this would be really helpful if you could find the crates. But it didn't seem to be necessary on Fortune's Keep. What did you think?
I mean, I think that's a good point, and I think when we were reading it, describing it, and I was envisioning it in my mind's eye, it was really like a Caldera situation where you would kind of see like sparse pings. I also didn't think about the fact that it pulses like a UAV. I thought it would just be like a steady thing on your map, but no, it's like you get the wave to slowly reveal them. And yeah, if anything, it was kind of distracting and like kind of takes over your freaking tac map, especially early game on a map like Fortune's Keep or Rebirth, because there's, like you said, so many crates, or where we like to drop on these terraces, like that spiral terrace, which has multi layers. It's like you got crates on top of crates on top of crates, so it's just a fucking mishmash of that shit.
Yeah, it is a mishmash. There's so many crates. It's hard to even focus in on where they are. So I mean, I guess it's cool. It could be refined a little bit more, and I think on Caldera, are these being deployed on Caldera as well? Can you buy
all
these
maps and game modes?
Got it. Okay, yeah. Then in Caldera, I would say this is a sweet buy.
But one thing we can always got our, we can read between the lines. We have the good ideas before they have them. We said, oh well, there's got to be a color way to differentiate between boxes if this is going to make sense. And sure enough, they delivered that. So if you use this and you're looking at your tac map, you're unsure how to kind of discern this. If you see the blue pinged crate, that's just a standard supply box. If you see an orange one, that is a legendary box. A red one is a resurgent supply box, which are the ones that refresh. And a pink, that's really what you want to look for. Those are the personal supply boxes, which will give you your loadout weapons.
So yeah, actually knowing that now, that makes this very valuable because there are quite a bit of those personal supply boxes around, at least on Fortune's Keep, and knowing where those are, I mean, you get your loadout guns right off the rip, which is amazing.
And I mean, that just segues into our next topic, which are these brand new personal supply boxes, which are also on all maps and modes. We got our hands on those quite a bit. What do you like this edition? Do you not like it? What do you think about this?
I like it a lot. I'm not sure what kind of disadvantage it's going to put me at as other people get their guns right off the rip. But I actually think it's pretty legit. We're dropping in kind of the same general zone in Fortune's Keep, and the building that we were dropping in always tended to have one of these. So at least one of us had good weapons in case we had to get into like a fight right off the bat. So I was into it. What about you?
I like it, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here off this PR, but I felt like they were almost too frequent. Like I had one round where I found two of them before I even got my loadout. And then at that point, it's like, I just get the loadout purely for perks. I'm going to kind of almost need to rethink the loadouts I build based on how much I find these. And if you're out there and you found one of these and it didn't give you the guns on your loadouts you were hoping for, what it does is it gives you your quote unquote favorite loadout weapon. And so the way you set your favorite, if you don't already, is you can go into your edit loadouts menu and there's a button designation to designate one of those specific 10 loadouts as your favorite. That's the one that's going to show up in this box.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I love your idea about maybe rethinking the loadouts here, because if you're finding the weapons that you need in these boxes consistently, how would that impact you? Would you probably just have a couple of more obviously perk related? But I mean,
I think I would. Well, I run restock, so I'm usually, when I get my loadout, I only have one primary. So I think what I would do is create a class that had an
overkill
SMG,
class.
meta SMG, set that as my favorite, and then I can find that in the fucking crates, and then go get my loadout. Boom, double down, bada bing, win, win, win.
Why wouldn't you just set one of your loadout slots to have both of your meta weapons in it, to the two weapons that you definitely want to run?
Well, because I'm an idiot, apparently. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you just get two of them right off the top?
That's
that
the overkill. Oh, well, see, this is why we're on this fucking podcast, is discover new shit. I'm learning right along here with the audience members.
Yeah, so that makes sense, though. I'm glad we had that breakthrough. I would do that for sure.
See, this is why Activision, if you're out there, I know the offer is probably drafted, like you're just figuring out how many zeros to put on the number, but make sure that you extend it to both of us. This is like a two-handed thing, because as you see, like, we spitball off each other. I kind of had the idea there, but then I would have missed the target, whereas Cowboy kind of guided me back there. We got that synergy, that symbiotic relationship, 2-for-1 special package deal here.
Yep. Send the offer letter. We're ready, baby.
All right. Well, next up, in terms of new additions, which I'm also not sure if you got your hands on, was this new Rage Serum.
I did not. I didn't get my hands on it. I didn't even see it. Did you?
I've picked up about 5 of them, but I've only used it once, and that was during that solo aforementioned Caldera solo match I talked about. It was kind of in a desperation move, getting shot at, didn't know where a guy was basically out of place, and I didn't have a stim, so I popped this thing, and yeah, it's essentially like a stim in terms of your movement, but I tried to beat the guy down as I thought it was supposed to let you do, and let's just say it didn't go so well. So gonna need a little bit more, trial testing with this before I can give much feedback. But yeah, they said it lasts for 40 seconds. The positive effects of the Rage Serum include increasing your movement speed by 8%, your damage with melee weapons or while unarmed, interesting, fists, is increased by 50%. Your lunge distance is increased, basically more than doubled, from 1.4 meters to 3.2, and your stun power from melee is increased by 50%. However, as we talked about in the preview, there's negative effects. So you have a louder presence, louder footsteps, your visible rage effects on your operator, not sure what that means, and your stun and flash vulnerability is increased by 40%, and it can be countered by the battle hardened perk.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not very excited about this, but again, I haven't tried it yet, so maybe I'm not informed enough, but it seems okay, whatever. I don't know. Seems like one of those things that'll go away.
Wow, the Cowboy sounds like he's really shot up with that Rage Serum, hearing that much passion coming.
I'm very, very excited about it. No, it sounds like something that's gonna, it'll go away. Give it a week or two, and it'll be gone. I don't think it's that exciting.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. We'll see. It's new. Maybe people will find a way to exploit it or something like that. If you're in a jam, like I said, it can kind of give you that increased movement speed, maybe get you out of it. Otherwise, whatever. Additionally, though, that's really it in terms of like additions and updates on the map and such and new items. But there were some awesome quality of life improvements. Maybe not awesome, but definitely appreciated, as we always do here on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. And first up is something I know we all have been frustrated about, is the notifications for precision airstrikes. They improved the danger UI to be more consistent with where the airstrike target is and any nearby enemies. They also implemented a fix where precision airstrikes would sometimes not hit near the targeted site and instead hit the player from behind unexpectedly.
Yeah, been there.
They said this would occur in rare situations where a player is positioned considerably higher above the target when launching the strike, and they added a danger UI notification if the player calling the cluster or precision is too close to the targeted site.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it took them a long time to figure this out, but I'm glad that they're addressing it.
Yeah, so many times, it felt like it was as time went on, like not early in Warzone, but later, more recent, was like Rebirth, being out in the open, all of a sudden getting destroyed by a precision where I didn't even get a notification, and somebody 10 feet away, I realized had called it out, and I'm like, well, why the fuck did they get it, not me? So definitely appreciated. And in terms of knowing if you're in the danger zone, always appreciated. I mean, that takes us way, way back to one of our first videos we did. I think it was our first ever breakdown where I accidentally called an airstrike on myself. I obviously knew in that instance I needed to get out of there, but there's other times where it's questionable. So,
yeah, I've been frustrated by this. Yeah, there was some update that happened. I feel like what was it? It was some large update. Yeah, maybe 8-10 months ago or something. I can't remember what it was, but there was something just off with the airstrikes. And you're right, it felt like it was getting worse too at times. It was like, when did this start happening? But it did, and now this is where we're at. Now they're fixing it.
We'll call this an amateur-friendly quality of life improvement. They described it as, in the absence of any recent changes to the precision airstrike behavior, we've still seen an uptick in player sentiment, aka people mad on Twitter, and discussion around precision airstrikes lately. As such, our engineering team have completed a detailed review of the system to make sure it's working as intended, and as a result have made some changes to further improve and optimize the system. Note that precision airstrikes will continue to shoot through glass. balconies, and wall-bang penetrable buildings.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I mean, airstrikes, I feel like on Fortune's Keep of all maps, I think are pretty badass and can get you in some good situations. Like you can really flush people out there, or you can get them off a roof so many times. So I think this is a timely update. I mean, the last season of Warzone, better fucking late than never, I guess, right?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, I guess better late than never. It seems like we only have a few more weeks or months of this, and they just figured this out. But okay, let's keep moving. I feel like we got a lot more of these to come.
Yeah, well, the next up is a very small change where the C4, when it's, you see it on the ground as loot, they've now, instead of standing upright, it lays flat. And the reason is they felt it was too similar looking to the perks, the lootable perks, which I 100% agree. So many times had seen the C4, I thought I found a perk, I did not. So now they're a little, one's laying down, one's standing up.
Yeah, which I actually think is amazing because I've had this happen so many fucking times where I think that it's a perk, I go up and I grab it, and I'm all excited about it, and then I switch out my Semtex for C4s, and I'm like, motherfucker. And I have to switch them back, and not only do I have to switch them back, but then I'm disappointed that I didn't get an exciting, fun perk.
Exactly. But those were kind of the low-key quality of life improvements, but these next ones definitely appreciated. One we touched on and previewed is they've now officially done it. They've added the ability to go into your settings and decide whether you want the gas mask to equip automatically or to do that bitch manually. So you have to go check it out. They said we've made many targeted quality of life improvements to the gas mask behavior over the course of this year. They certainly have. And with it being in a much better place for all of our players, now is the time to take the next step to give you more agency and control over your experience with the manual equip setting.
Nice. So we want to make sure I want it on auto. I'm not trying to manually do the gas mask because I'll forget and it'll mess me up. I'm too ingrained in the auto. What about you? Do you think you're going to be a manual guy?
I maybe, but then earlier today we were playing and I got into a gunfight and I swore I had one, but it didn't come on right away and I was freaking out. And I realized it was because I was just doing too much shit. I was like ADSing, reloading, all that. So I just had to kind of take a second and then it threw it on. So I don't think I'll go manual just because it's one more thing, one more button for me to fucking press and screw up. And those little microseconds of losing damage or whatever in the gas, that's just priceless. So I'll probably stick with you. I'll stay with the auto. Let the algorithm take care of us.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's another. I can't even remember sometimes like basic controls. So I'm just gonna let it be automatic.
That's right. But no, don't put more wrinkles in this thing. I'm just trying to iron it out. But additionally, when you go to the buy station now, there's so much shit because that new supply box UAV, you can buy that now. And the inventory list is so long that it now scrolls. But thankfully, they left loadouts at the bottom so you can still do the quick one click up, get to it. But did you notice that the buy station list is like, you got to fucking scroll now?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because they've added some weird shit to it. I fear change. I don't like this. There's too many things now. And also now you have to, when did this happen? Did we already talk about this and I'm just an idiot and forgot? When did you have to buy self-revives during a fire sale?
We touched on it briefly, or I think like even previewed it, but definitely didn't. I remember I've been meaning to bring it up. And I think it was the same update where that they announced that like loadouts would be discounted during fire sales. But yeah, it's like $800 I think now, which it definitely makes a difference there.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, I've been left out in the cold quite a bit where I'm like, oh, get my free self. And then I got like $500. And, if somebody else has already bought 5 UAVs in a fucking Muni box and they don't got any change for me. So shit out of luck there.
Yeah. Instinctively now it's fire sale. It's like, oh, you just go there and figure out how much money you have and what you can get once you're there. And now you screw yourself if you don't have $800.
And I mean, speaking of instinct, one change that we both hated, which they said I felt like did it to make the community happy, is anytime you go to select a loadout, it automatically defaults to your top selection, even if you've picked one in the pregame or had picked up your previous loadout. Doesn't matter. Automatically, top of the list, fucking deal with it. Well, they went in, they gave us some wiggle room here. They added a setting that allows the loadout interface to remember the last loadout that was selected. I have no idea how to go in and change this, so I'm going to have to dig around my settings because this is one I am definitely switching on. How about you?
So, I guess I'm a little confused here. This isn't like setting it as a favorite. So, but so it. Can you explain it to me one more time? I'm a little confused. At what point does it start at the top?
So by default, it's going to set to the top. It's going to default to the top loadout when you have the choice of loadouts. But now you can go in and choose a setting where you say, no, I don't want it to do that. I want it to remember the last one that I had selected. Basically, you can go back to the old way.
I feel like I've had that happen both ways. And you have to just be kind of astute when you open your loadout to make sure you don't grab the wrong one, because sometimes it does one thing, sometimes it starts another. Does that make sense?
I mean, if you're smoking crack, because as of this update, it's only been at the top one all the time.
And you have to scroll down to whichever one you want.
Yeah. So I
could have sworn that it was set on whatever one you had already selected in the pregame lobby. I could have sworn
it was forever up until recently when they made this change.
So when was the change made?
I think it was sometime season 4 or maybe.
Okay, so within the last few months. Okay, then that makes sense.
And it's fucked me.
Yeah.
Because especially like we play different maps, you're going to want different loadouts in those situations. So as me, savvy player, built a bunch of different loadouts. I like the option of I'm in the pregame, I can equip that loadout, and then I'm ready to roll when the actual game starts. When I find my loadout, I just go boom, boom, pick it. I don't have to fucking go down the list, read shit. You know, I don't read so good. So
yeah,
I'm switching this on. Thank you, Raven, for that.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's good.
But a final, which I don't know if you yourself might consider this a quality of life improvement, and I know our air enthusiasts out there likely don't as well, but the plane respawn functionality has been changed to where planes now no longer respawn once they've been destroyed.
Oh, a lot of people are going to be upset about that.
They said, we've made a change to Battle Royale to bring planes in line with other vehicles. Upon review, it simply didn't feel rewarding for players to invest in eliminating enemy planes only to see them respawn moments later, which I guess is fair because that's what we would do in quads. We'd all get in fucking planes. We own the skies. If you died, you just get bought back and go find your plane once it respawns. So I guess now it's going to be more of a scrap to get them at the start and see them less as time goes on. I don't know how I feel about this. I think I kind of like it, but I also know part of the community that likes planes probably hates me for saying that.
Yeah, I just feel like now there's going to be saboteurs that come in here and just destroy all the planes immediately. Like just someone with a rocket launcher is going to come in, shoot the planes, just to start destroying them, just to screw everyone over. That's what I think is going to happen. But I think
someone's just going to go airfield.
Yeah, exactly. Just rocket launch
shit in the apple pie for
Yep. Just ruin it for everyone.
Well, that's sad for those who missed that. Hope you got your flying in. And yeah, they're not even in Iron Trials is gone, but I noticed the planes weren't even in Iron Trials. But that said, the final two changes here were to perks. And first up is they nerfed the Serpentine perk yet again to where fire damage is no longer decreased, explosive damage is no longer decreased, and players must now be tack sprinting for Serpentine to be effective. Or I guess this change isn't live, that it's coming later this season. And they said Serpentines continues to be a top 3 pick in the blue perk category after Season 4 Reloaded's update. As a result, we're removing the bonus protection to fire and explosive damage. This should also restore the value of EOD that Serpentine had cannibalized. Later in the season, they'll be making additional changes that cause Serpentine to only be effective. Okay, so the first changes with fire and explosive are live, but that tack sprint only is coming later. I tweeted out from our account this week that we've said from the beginning, this was a stupid fucking perk. And what have they done? They've only nerfed it because it's just everyone's running it. It only makes sense to run it. And now it's like, why is it even in the game? Just take it out. Who's going to want to run it now if you only get it for tack sprint? It's stupid. What are your thoughts on the Serpentine?
Well, you've kind of set it up that I don't know if I can have another opinion than what you just shared, but yeah, I guess it doesn't really make sense. I guess you're right, so I'll agree with you.
Are you running Serpentine?
I was just actually setting my perks, and when I was building out a new loadout, and I actually wasn't running Serpentine. In my latest, I was running Amped because I had a couple of very frustrating encounters where I was trying to switch weapons, and I just couldn't get to my SMG in time, and it was just that split second that cost me everything. So I switched to Amped actually in my third slot.
I mean, I might be doing the same because I had a Serpentine de facto on all mine, but with these changes, I think I'm moving away from it. I think I'm ready. I forget what the other options are in that category, but yeah, Amp's definitely a good one. And then finally, the Battle Hardened perk got a buff. They gave stun and flash resistance was increased from 50% to 80% for stun, and I believe 70% for flash. They said we felt we could bring more value to Battle Hardened, especially as it's now present as a lootable perk, with our target for the effects of stun and flash to be mitigated to less than a second with the perk equipped.
That's pretty legit. Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, but they said some players may wonder, why was this change fucking happening now? To which our reply is that there may be a surprise in store for Season 5 that warrants this change.
What? Are they releasing some kind of stronger... do you have a theory here?
One is that they're going to buff stuns and flashes, but I don't think that's it. And I'm not that smart, so I don't know, but I'm intrigued.
Our reply is that there may be a surprise in store during Season 5 that warrants this change. I mean, screams they're going to buff stuns and flashes, right? I mean, what else? Or there's like, yeah. No, it's got to be.
Like you said, or there's maybe a new weapon or way to stun and flash people. Or maybe they think the serum, the rage serum, is going to get the rage or something, and people are going to want to counter that.
Oh, that could be it, right?
But that's already in the game. That's not coming later this season, so I don't know. We'll have to put a bookmark in that. Check back on it. But that's it. The next up is all of our weapons in the meta. But before we dive into that good stuff, we got to take some time to share a few words from our sponsors. And as you know, but you know, we've heard some real personal, very personal stories from the cowboy about digestive health, about all that good stuff. Well, doesn't matter where you're at. If you want to basically have better gut health, more energy, and optimize your immune system, but you hate taking all these pills and vitamins, well, check out Athletic Greens AG1. It's one single scoop. You're going to be absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, too descriptive to go into my digestive and, my gut health, especially when we're talking about a product that is designed to improve your overall gut health and digestive, let's say, vulnerabilities, maybe. I don't know. But listen, I use this stuff on a daily basis. I like to put it in my smoothies personally. It's really good for my digestion. I've noticed like big changes since I've done that. Also, when I eat pizza and stuff and like shitty foods now, I feel like because I'm consistently eating this, I'm a little bit better at dealing with like those harder things on your stomach, like cheeses and stuff. Listen, I'm no doctor, even though I'm technically a doctor, but I would recommend this product.
Well, as you said, it's lifestyle friendly, and one thing I've wondered after I've read this one a few times is what are adaptogens? And I just looked it up, and according to WebMD, adaptogens are certain herb or mushrooms that are thought to have health benefits. They are believed to help you deal with stress. And so they're included in AG1 as well.
What kind of mushrooms are these?
That's what it's found, adaptogens. I've wondered what adaptogens are.
I don't know what they are either. I just
described it, but that's okay. As we said, AG1 is a small micro habit that provides big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. If you're out there, if you're interested, head over to athleticgreens.com/emerging, EMERGING. Make sure you do that. Don't just go to Athletic Greens. Go to athleticgreens/emerging, because if you do that and you make a purchase, you're going to get a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase.
1 year supply?
Yes, of immune-supporting vitamin D.
That seems like a good deal. I would go do that personally.
All right, and next up, we've talked about smooth sack summer. Well, at the same time, especially here, it's sweltering in Southern California, so we're going to get a big alliteration here. It's, for some out there, probably sweaty sack summer as well.
Oh, big time.
So it's time to prioritize the comfort of your crotch, and that is why the kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. Cowboys shared, I've shared. I mean, I went to a wedding where I was a best man, and I needed to make sure my junk was fucking secure. So what did I do? I threw on the Manscaped boxers, the boxer briefs, excuse me. So I can attest to it, and I can say it's the softest fabric you're going to feel. It's so breathable. It's like gills for your groin. They even trademark the jewel pouch, so you know it's serious.
Oh, that wedding that you were the best man at? Were we co-best men? Was it the wedding you and I were both in where we were both best men? Just to be clear here, because I was wearing my Manscaped boxers too.
You
to
were.
bring it full circle. I was, but
Wow.
I just want the audience to know that you weren't the best man. There were multiple best men, and I was one of them as well.
That's right. I mean, hey, you can claim you were the best man too. All right, I won't dispute that. And there was a third best man as well. And I know they've ordered Manscaped, so I'm wondering if they had that baby on there too. So maybe we had a trifecta there of the Boxer 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, I actually know too that the groom, his fiance, ordered him boxers through our 20% discount code.
Wow.
So we all may have been wearing Manscaped boxers at his wedding up there in front of everyone.
Well, we were damn sure feeling good.
And it was a great
so.
wedding, for the record. I think that the Manscaped boxers may have set the tone for the great night that we had.
They certainly set my sack up for success. But yeah, the micro-modal fabric is buttery soft and breathable. It keeps your cucumber cool. You can walk, run, or strut, and these moisture-wicking boxers will breathe without breaking a sweat. If you're interested, you want to get your hands on these, or you want to get some other Manscaped products along with it, make sure you head over to manscaped.com, the official site, but also be sure you use the code WAH, as in Warzone Amateur Hour. That's going to get you 20% off and free shipping.
Yes, use the code, people. 20% is no joke, too. You load up on some boxers, you're going to save some serious money.
Yes, indeed you are. So now let's go ahead and return to the real meat here of the patch, the Season 5 updates, which was the weapons tuning and the introduction of new weapons, which I guess first off the bat, we missed it in the patch note previews or whatever, is this brand new EX1 AR. We mentioned it, but it's a fucking laser gun.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I had gotten it at the ground loot and I started using it. I was really excited about it. To be honest, I didn't like it though. It was not slapping. Like it didn't feel very Warzone-y. I don't know. It just felt weird to me. It felt like a novelty thing that I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Have you used it?
I technically did use it, but it was literally, I only picked it up off the ground and fired it just to kind of see what it was like. And it feels powerful, and it sounds like it's really good in Vanguard. But unfortunately for Warzone, or maybe not unfortunately, I guess fortunately, I'm glad this isn't a fucking meta weapon. It's not. And the other thing is, this is a Vanguard gun, which is a World War II era game. So, like, they just don't even care at this point.
Yeah, this is weird to me. This seems like not a what would we call it here? Like not affinity of tone. You know what I mean? Like this is like doesn't fit with the rest of the shit that's going on here, man.
Yeah, and like why? And I mean, they've introduced new Black Ops guns too, so why not maybe dip their toes in the, I don't know, a lot of questions. But the real answer around the EX1 AR, the laser gun, is that it's not really worth your time unless you're really in. I mean, I get, and again, they didn't even introduce it when the Terminator came in. Like that maybe felt like a good time.
Yeah.
And then you could like tie it into the story, like he brought it with him from fucking John Connor future
We're not missing anything, right? That's not what happened, and we're just like a little late on this.
Well, I mean, the gun wasn't around until this brand new season 5.
Got it.
That's
so,
for sure.
Maybe. Well, let me ask you this: I'm assuming you can still buy the Terminator package, right? Like the skin or whatever. Like
that's a good question. I'm not sure on that.
And I'm wondering if maybe they updated it or something to include this gun in that package. You know what I'm saying? Because that would make sense. You know, if it was like a futuristic laser gun that he had brought back, and now it's just available widely because, you know, they've like paired it with the skin that is now for sale. But again, I don't know the answer to that. I could be making this shit up again. Like, these are the kinds of things that would answer the questions that the community has, and we're coming up with genius answers over here, and we're just trying to get some cash from the company to support our ideas and efforts. But maybe that's the problem, because we just give it out there for free every one of these episodes. They just keep, you know, they just take it and take it, and they're like, why would we pay them? You know? Well, here, let me answer that question, because we got more ideas than on this podcast. All right, motherfuckers?
Yeah,
so
and it's like, I mean, these are just like the little, you know, like rubies, like little jewels. You want the big old fucking diamonds, the Hope diamonds. That's going to cost you. But, you know, help me help you type of situation here.
Yeah.
But yes, before we dive into the nerfs and buffs, they made some general substantial tweaks, which huge fan favorites. I know the folks in the community that track the guns, like True Game Data, and just the general community that are non-sweatlord psychopaths, especially the amateurs, applauded them. And the biggest thing was they've done a huge effort to bring Vanguard weapons maybe lower and boost up Modern Warfare and Black Ops guns to make them more competitive. But the one thing that kind of was keeping people from really dipping their toes in that was that 3 to 6x scope and the 4 to 8x scope on Vanguard guns is just dominant, especially on Caldera. It's a joke. And it gave you the edge. Well, what did they do here in Season 5, Cowboy? I don't think you know this one. They now added glint to the 3 to 6x and 4 to 8x.
Really?
Yes, variable scope, and they reduced recoil control, and they adjusted ADS time. So they said this should have a significant impact on the long-range playstyle, enabling wider options, and not total domination from Vanguard ARs.
Wow, I didn't realize that. So they've added glint to non-sniper scopes. Well, these specific ones, but
to these meta, essentially, they're trying to nerf the meta optic, which is a weird thing to think that it's such a thing. But I mean, I love it. They're clearly listening to the community. They knew what would need to be done. I thought this was a really good solution.
Wow, good for them. Yeah, okay. Well, so are we going to dive into these buffs and nerfs?
Well, there's some other updates. So Vanguard marksman rifles now will take assault rifle ammo. They said aggressive and heavy sniper rifles will see a large reduction. They said snipers are in a good spot, but we're not done with them yet. Combined with the above, we're expecting many viable options and variability in long-range engagements. And so it's not live now, but they alluded to the fact that snipers are going to be getting a big overhaul here later in Season 5, where they're going to try and buff them, essentially. They're going to reduce the flinch, which is the biggest downside, I think, to them, and hopefully get snipers more in the mix. I know you got your hands on a car on Fortune's Keep off a dead body. Any thoughts on getting back in that action?
It felt so good to get it back into my hands. It was like all of a sudden I felt so much more comfortable once I had it in my hands. The problem was that I couldn't kill anybody with it. Not only because I was missing my shots, but the headshots I was hitting from distance only cracked the individual. So it's very bittersweet. I may build a Car 98 loadout again just to have it, you know, just for when I feel like ripping it apart and trying it. But I don't think it's something I can do every time, but it definitely stirred something inside me. I'm going to start using that again, and maybe in select circumstances. But yeah, missing the sniping.
I could feel the enthusiasm and the joy. I mean, it's the joy that you've lost. I could feel your recapture a little bit. So maybe there's another maybe the Swiss or something like that. You got to look at the damage ranges, and maybe it can get you that. But that was really it. And then we talked about the new EX1 AR, the laser gun. They also added this new Ra225 Smg, which I guess is pretty viable. Maybe not tippy top meta, but still good.
Yeah, I grabbed that ground loot. Can't say I won any gunfights with it because I had 0 kills that game, but definitely I like the movement speed, like the size.
I got my hands on it, didn't fire it, so I have to give it a shot. But yes, the main real, as we said, sculpting of the meta, of the reshaping, of the balancing was a large amount of buffs and a decent amount of nerfs. So to summarize here, guns that received buffs were the Bar, the Growl, the old master of, the original Warzone Modern Warfare. I guess they're bringing the band back together for the final season here. Because they didn't really touch some of the other, the M4A1 didn't get fucking touched, but never mind. The Growl, the Groza, the Vargo S, the Type 11, the SVT, the M1 Garand, the G43, the M1916. They said all snipers got a buff. The Fennec, the PPSH Vanguard, the P90, which is a huge favorite in Modern Warfare. People are really excited about that. And the Striker 45.
So a lot of buffs, basically. They buffed the shit out of some stuff. They really mixed the weapon tuning up a lot. So I think from what I hear, do we want to hop into the nerfs? Do we want to talk about like what's meta now? How do you want to approach this?
Yeah, I guess let's quickly, which I guess is really a punch in the balls there for the Cowboy. He was riding so high. He had the meta dialed in with the KGM40 and the Armaguerra, but what do you know? Those receiving nerfs on this patch, the KGM40, the Armaguerra, the Cooper Carbine, the STG, the Combat Shotgun, the Marco. They said all Vanguard silencers were nerfed. As we talked about, the 3 to 6x and 4 to 8x optics were nerfed, and the Tight Grip perk also nerfed. And they made some slight adjustments, like a mixture of nerfs and buffs to the AS44, the Blixen, and the M1928.
Yeah, I lost one of the favorites. I lost the KGM40. I was using it today, and it pains me to say, but it's just I don't think viable for me anymore. It's got a little too much recoil, and it doesn't hit as hard. So I think I have to reassess my situation. It's a sad day. What else is there to say?
I mean, you said loss.
Is this what
I really
you want?
do
Is
feel,
this what you want? You want to see me?
No,
in pain?
I just feel a sense of loss in your voice, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm lost, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I did use one of your Vargos, which I did enjoy. The recoil was a lot lower than I recall too. It seemed like they made it a little smoother. So maybe that's the direction. Maybe I'll play around with some snipers. I don't know. I'll keep you updated.
Well, as we've said so many times in the past, the Warzone gods giveth and the Warzone gods taketh away, and they taketh away the Cowboys' meta favorites, but they giveth the Tron one of his all-time favorite guns. If you've listened to this podcast, that is the Vargo. I had been thinking about equipping it, but then saw some folks on our Discord actually really recommending it. Specifically, he's got an H and like a sideways smiley face is his name here. So I don't know how you want me to fucking pronounce that guy on our Discord, but he shared a clip of the Vargo. I equipped it today. That is the AR I was using for my PR. I can attest the Vargo is back and it feels damn good.
I bet it does. I mean, I used it as well. Do you agree that the recoil seemed a little less than the past?
Well, I mean, when it was originally released, it was like a 0 recoil gun. Then they nerfed it. It got worse. I think, like you said, they maybe buffed that back. That it's not, I don't think, as 0 recoil as it was, but maybe, yeah, it's very, very minimal recoil.
Wow. Yeah, it's a laser beam. I got to see where my Vargo's at on the level spectrum. I'm not sure if I have it leveled up.
Well, with all these fucking personal crates, I can usually find one or drop one to get your hands on them in the meantime. But that said, the SMG space seems like it's opening up quite a bit. Although the Armaguerra was nerfed, I feel like a ton of the community still love it, still feel it's meta. I don't have an SMG of choice right now, but I did. My big discovery in playing with you today, and I think you agreed with that, was the realization that I really am loving the Nikita, and I'm actually using that now as my short range. Anytime I can get it, I can't get it my loadout because I don't have it leveled for shit, but I've been finding the purple, the blue ones, and I love the Nikita right now for those close range encounters.
You gonna end up building a loadout for that?
Once I get it up there, I might even plunder that thing a little, but yeah, what were your thoughts on the Nikita?
Yeah, I really like its fire rate. I've always liked how fast it fires, and many bullets it puts out there. I feel like it's an amateur's friend, you know. So I've always really liked it. Yeah, I mean, it's I feel like it's more of a sniper support weapon. I don't know if it's like a straight SMG situation, because you know it's a little bit more longer range, but could be great sniper support.
Yeah, it's definitely most popular as a sniper support weapon, but I was going toe to toe, winning like gunfight after gunfight with that. It sold me on it. But that's pretty much it for the meta, where we're at the Season 5 update. Curious again, as always, to hear from you. What are you rocking? What's in the meta? How's the P90 doing? Where are we at? What should we be fucking running? But some final notes here, because we're just getting... Every week you hear us on the podcast, that's 1 week we're closer to Modern Warfare 2, and more importantly, 1 week closer to Vanguard Season 2, or Vanguard, to Warzone 2. And last week we said there's a rumor. It's rumored that the release date of Warzone 2, Cowboy, is November 16th. Well, guess what? They came out today and said that Season 5, guess what day it ends on? November 16th. So it looks like it's literally going to lead up to the day that Warzone 2 drops.
Wow. When is our 100th episode? I wonder if it's going to be around that time.
That'll be, well, for this being 92, that'll be basically 8 weeks away, about 2 months. So
end of October.
So right around Modern Warfare 2, maybe not quite Warzone 2, but pretty serendipitous, which we've had from the beginning of this podcast. I think it was like our second episode was when they did the full Black Ops integration. But yes, last week I said, Mark, with your Sharpies, thank God they didn't change that date, because that ink is dry now, and it seems like it's fucking set in stone. November 16th, Warzone 2. They also, if you go to store bundles now in Warzone, they have a little fucking disclaimer that says these items can be used in this version of Warzone only. So like this thing that was a theory, that was like a little doll on the shelf, it has now come to life. It's fucking Pinocchio. He's running around. His nose is getting bigger, baby. The magic is real.
Yes, I'm very excited. I mean, I think we have a gigantic shout out to give too during the podcast today.
That is right, my friend. I'm glad you remembered, and I'm just going to allow you to serve it up here.
Well, to be honest, the technical aspects of how this unfolded was not something that I can basically describe. But basically, we had a gigantic donation, monetary donation to the podcast from one of our favorite, best, you know, number one supporters, and that's Laws of Gravity. I don't even know the gentleman's real name. I just know him as Laws of Gravity. Huge.
That's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know. He's been a huge supporter of the pod since the beginning, and I'm assuming he's interacting on Twitter. It just seems like, yeah, he's very invested, and he's a great guy. He ended up sending me like the gift card for PlayStation Store, so I could purchase Modern Warfare 2 and pre-order it. So the Cowboy will be ready to go when it comes out. And yeah, this will be the first time I've ever purchased a video game, you know, pre-ordered, done the whole shebang, and it's all thanks to Laws of Gravity. So thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and one of the finest supporters of this podcast.
Woo! That is right. I'm just so hyped and overwhelmed with gratitude, touched by that. Yes. The Cowboy is officially pre-ordered. He's officially going to be on the beta. Your boy Tron's also pre-ordered. So unlike, you know, standalone games of past, we will not be on the sidelines. We will be in the fucking game, and you bet your ass we're going to be running into that end zone and spiking it. So with the PlayStation beta first up, we're going to be some of the first players in the fucking game. We've also talked about even perhaps doing a playthrough of the early campaign, and recording that and uploading that with some commentary. So let us know how you feel about that. But yes, the main note is Laws of Gravity is an incredible human being, and our whole community as a whole. We just love you all. 92 episodes deep. We can't believe it. We're on the tail end of Warzone 1, but we are so goddamn excited for what we built and where this ship is headed. And it's all because of you. We're riding on your waves. We're riding on the shoulders of giants here, right, man?
Yeah. Wow. That got. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
we're good.
that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast, a jam-packed Season 5 update and a goddamn jam-packed episode here for us. Not really much more to say other than, take another thing off your advent calendar. We're one day closer to the beta, to Modern Warfare 2, and to Warzone 2.
Yes, coming up quick. Very exciting times. Hopefully the weather cools down before it starts to heat up in the Warzone. You know what I mean?
That's right. So get into the new season. Check it out. Let us know what you think. We will talk to you all next week. And until then,
Good luck in the gulag.